Hi, Robert Cargill, back here in my office at the University of Iowa, and I want to make a quick video, and I promise it'll be quick. It won't be one of these 25-minute jumpers. I want to make a quick video in response to Dr. James Tabor, who's been giving me a little bit of grief because I keep saying that fish don't have handles, fish don't have handles, fish don't have handles, and I've shown a lot of evidence which I think clearly shows. There's here, by the way, there was on Nightline last night. There was a little feature on Nightline. Here's Dr. Tabor, and here's James Charlesworth of Princeton Theological Seminary. James Charlesworth is in the process of screaming out, "I am lifted up," said Jesus. They're apparently here. Let's get a clip.
Epsilon, C, and Omega. I am lifted up, says Jesus. I am lifted up.
On another ossuary found a few feet away.
Yeah, so here's James Charlesworth saying, "I am lifted up," said Jesus, here in the Nightline piece. But that was last night. Dr. Tabor wrote a blog. Well, let's start here. I wrote a blog and basically said sins of commission and omission, and the piece of this blog. This is on my on Excavator on robertcargill.com, and one of the things that I was pointing out was the fish, this little half fish on the back, has handles. You can see them there, and here's the original image. Here's me highlighting the handles. You can clearly see that the thing has handles. Now they don't match, but they clearly have handles. And then I was pointing out that what they're, excuse me, this is it here, that this image here that they've been showing also has a handle here. This part is hidden, but you can see the handle here. And I went through detail by detail and said, look, there's the handle. Up, around, in, and down. Up, around, in, and down. Now, ignore these digitally inked fish here. We'll talk about that later. I think I wrote I made a different video on that. Look, here it is again. Up, around, in, and down. Up, around, in, and down. It's just as visible as every other etched piece. Now, again, forget these digitally altered. Forget these faked fish up here. But you can see all this untouched etching here. Here's the handle. Up, around, in, and down. Look at that. Here's the actual photo that they posted. This is their post. Now they faked, they put the ink in up here and they highlighted this, but ignore that. Look at here. Up, around, in, and down. Up, around, in, and down. You can see it here. Up, around, in, and down. This is a different image. Look at this one. Up, around, in, and down. They're claiming this is their Jonah whale fish. They're claiming this is the tail fin, and right here, up, around, in, and down. Up, around, in, and down. You can see it. I mean, there it is. Up, around, in, and down. Now, here they're calling this a little flipper or a fin, but it's actually a crater handle. Like if this is the question is this an amphora or a hydria or a crater or a perfume vial, or it appears to be something like an amphora or a crater. The unguentariums, the early perfume vials were actually based. The first earliest forms of Joan Taylor talks about this at University College London, that it could be a perfume vial. Well, those were based on the shape of an amphora, and I'm leaning more towards crater. Maybe it's some kind of vessel, right? It's got the little handles on each side down here, and then of course here's a handle at the top, up, around, in, and down. And they keep putting this handle here because they want it to be a little flipper for their fish. But up here, they don't ever draw this one on their... But there it is. I mean, everyone can see it. Up, around, in, and down. Look at this. Up, around, in, and down. Up, around, in, and down. And then the question is, does it fall down here? I don't think so. It may plug back in here. We'll see. So, James Tabor wrote in response to this, it's also argued that the case of the handles imagined on our other fish that we take to be deliberate half fish diving into the water, etc., etc., etc. And then he goes on, and I highlighted it here on my blog when I responded to it. I said, here's what Tabor states. Most recently has been suggested that those arguing the image is some kind of vase, that it actually has handles attached to what we identify as a fish's tail. A close-up view of this area makes it clear that there is certainly no handle remotely resembling that of a vase or an amphora, just a couple of stray lines. It's unconnected to the image. It might have even been made by mistake, right? It's also the case that the handles are imagined on our thing. They're not there. the handle, clearly a random mark. Look, it's just a random scratch. Now the problem with this is when we actually go in and look at these images, there's another image that Dr. Tabor sent me that curiously isn't on the Jesus Ossuary, the Discovery, the Jesus Discovery website. When you go down looking at here, you see all these images that they want you to see, but curiously, this isn't one of them. Now, Dr. Tabor sent me this because he was trying to show me how they could see behind Ossuary 5. This is Ossuary 5, this is Ossuary 6. But when he sent me this image, you can clearly see that not only is there up, around, in, and down on the left, but when you look behind it, here is its counterpart. The same shape, the same size, the same location on the opposite side of the top of the vessel. Up, around, in, and down. Up, around, in, and down. Let's look at it here. You can see I've highlighted it here. Up, around, in, and down. So you had it over here, up, around, in, and down, and over here, up, around, in, and down. Let's put some arrows on it. Up, around, in, and down. Up, around, in, and down. Let's come over here a little, let's bring this over here with the blow up. See, it has these handles, and fish don't have handles. Up, around, in, and down. Let's go over here and look a little more. Here, up, around, in, and down. Up, around, in, and down. Are we getting the picture here? They might call it a Jonah's great fish. Up, around, in, and down. Up, around, in, and down. How about over here? Look at this. Fish don't have handles. Up, around, in, and down. So that's the point. That's the point of this whole exercise. They gave you this image, and you can kind of see something here, but okay. But once you get in and look at some of their other images, you see it clearly. Up, around, in, and down. Ossuary 6, Ossuary 5. How about this one? Up, around, in, and down. Now this isn't a good one because I'm actually inking the line so you can't see the original. So let's compare it. Look at this. Up, around, in, and down. Up, around, in, and down. See it? Up, around, in, and down. Up, around, in, and down. So you got a handle down here and a handle up here. So you're getting the point. And that's the thing. It's one thing to argue, this is just a random scratch. It's just not there. What did he say? I mean, I want to read it again because it's I won't say it's disingenuous, but he said it's just a couple of stray lines. It's unconnected to the image. It's made by mistake. It's imagined. It's not there. It's a random mark. It's just a random scratch. Okay, maybe you could argue that about this very clear something. It's etched. I mean, it's made out of the same stuff. Up, around, in, and down. Up, around, in, and down. You might be able to argue that on the left side. But when you send me a picture, when Dr. Tabor sends me a picture, look at this. And it shows you the right side has the same thing. Up, around, in, and down. Let's get a little closer here. Up, around, in, and down. You know what? Let's get even a little closer here. Now it's going to start to get pixelated here after a while, but up, around, in, and down. You see that? Look over here. Up, around, in, and down. Up, around, in, and down. And now back over here. Up, around, in, and down. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know how more clearly or more professionally to say it. To claim that those are just a couple of stray lines, they are unconnected, that they are made by mistake, that they are imagined, good grief, that they're simply not there, that they're random marks or random scratches, when they appear on the same side, at the same size, the same shape, the same place on both sides of the top of this vessel, I don't know what else to say. If I had any hair left on top of my head, I'd pull it out. You can't argue that these are unconnected random lines when on the left side you've got up, around, in, and down, and on the right side you've got up, around, in, and down. Again, fish don't have handles. So you can call me delusional, you can say that I'm not seeing something, but I would counter and say there are two kinds of delusion. There are not seeing things that are clearly there, and there are seeing things that are clearly not there. If you look at this and say, it's Jonah, it's a fish, look, that's seeing something that's not there. But then, on top of that, to turn around and say that there's nothing here, that up, around, in, and down. On that side, and up, around, in, and down. On this side, I mean, I would ask the question, and I don't want to make any accusations. Dr. Tabor's a very kind man. He's a good guy. I consider him a colleague. But to argue that there's nothing there, to argue that there's no handle, is just a desire to completely not see something that blows apart this entire theory, which is probably why this image isn't on this website. There's a reason they didn't put that image up here, because it completely shatters the entire theory. On the left, up, around, in, and down, and on the right, up, around, in, and down. Fish don't have handles.